Hello all, good evening to everyone. We have been discussing the terminology in economy. So in that series, I am going to discuss a few more things regarding the terminology of economy, right? So my humble request for every one of you is to listen all these videos on terminology in economy, so that in future classes, when I start the main syllabus of the economy for UPSC, you will be able to understand each and every concept with much ease. So I request all of you to have a look at the terminology in economy, right? Okay. So the next term in the terminology in economy is development. So what is the meaning of development? See, there are many definitions for development. It may change from time to time or from place to place. Okay. So in general, development means good educational levels and good health status and good per capita income. Meaning, a country which has good performance in all these three parameters, that is in education, in health and per capita income, then such country is called as developed country. Okay. So what is per capita income? So income per person. Okay. If you take health status, the life expectancy indicates the health status, and educational levels means the literacy rate. Okay. So whichever the country has good performance in these three parameters, such country is called as a developed country, and it is called as development. So development means providing educational facilities, providing health facilities, and increasing the per capita income of the individual. If per capita income increases, the standard of living increases, right? So that is called as development. Then what is sustainable development? Next term, sustainable development. Here the point is, in the name of development, we have been over exploiting the natural resources. We are polluting air, we are polluting water, soil, and everything on the earth. We are polluting it. So because of that, our future generations will definitely face problems. Okay. Therefore, these things should be regulated. So the development should be done consciously, meaning the development should be done by considering the environment. So that is called sustainable development. So sustainable development means the development with minimal damage to the environment. That means without damaging the environment, we cannot construct the roads, we cannot lay the roads, we cannot lay the railway tracks. In one way or other way, the environment will be damaged, but such damage should be minimal. Okay. So the development with minimal damage to the environment, so that the future generations can have equal, if not better, lifestyles. Okay. That means we have to do developmental activities by not affecting the chances of our future generations. They should also enjoy the lifestyles as same as we are enjoying right now. So that is called sustainable development. So in simple words, sustainable development means it is the combination of economy, environment plus social community. Am I clear? That means developmental activities should be taken place by considering the environment, by considering the damage to the environment. If we are conscious about the damage that is being caused by us to the environment, then definitely we will reduce the damage. So such type of development is called as a sustainable development. So all the governments across the world has switched on to the sustainable development. Okay, right. Then next term, renewable resources. The word itself says the meaning of this. Renewable means resources that can be renewed, through natural processes. Is called as renewable resources. Okay, and it is possible only if they are used wisely. For example, we can use the resources of the forest, and the nature will replace the resources again if we use them wisely. Meaning, the nature has the capability to renew the natural resources, but it needs some time. It should be given certain period of time to renew the natural resources. Okay, we have to provide that. Instead of providing that time lapse, if we over exploit the natural resources which are beyond the carrying capacity of the earth, then definitely the mother nature cannot renew the resources, right? So renewable resources means resources that can be renewed through natural processes if they are used wisely. So what are the renewable resources? Forests, fishes, which is nothing but the seafood, right, etc. If not over exploited, can easily be renewed, right? Then renewable energy. What is the meaning of renewable energy? The energy that can be renewed is called renewable energy. The best example for renewable energy are wind energy, solar energy, geothermal energy, etc. So here, wind is used to create electricity by using wind vanes. That's all. Okay, and solar energy. The sunlight can be used to generate electricity by using solar panels. And this wind and solar, these are all can be renewed. These are abundantly available in the nature. So these energies are called as renewable energies, which can be renewed by the nature. Next, non-renewable resources. The resources that cannot be renewed are called as non-renewable resources. They have a finite stock. That means a limited resource. Okay, example, fossil fuels. Fossil fuels means the crude oil, okay, like petroleum, etc. And minerals, metals, iron ore, coal, etc. All these come under non-renewable resources. These resources cannot be renewed. Right. Next term is literacy rate. What is literacy rate? Literacy rate means it measures the proportion of literate population in the 7 and above age group. So what is the scale here? 7 and above age group who can both write and read with understanding in any of the language. Okay, come under literates. Okay, literacy rate means the proportion of the literate population. The proportion of the literate population 7 and above, okay, who can able to write and read with understanding in any of the language is considered as a literate person, and it is called as a literacy rate. So the literacy rate indicates the level of education in a country. So this indicator is very important to understand the level of education in any country. Okay, then infant mortality rate, IMR. So infant mortality rate means number of children that die before the age of 1 year. You have to note this point. Before the age of 1 year per 1000 live children born in that particular year. For example, if I say infant mortality rate as 40 in a particular year, it means 40 deaths per 1000 live births in a year. Okay, that is called infant mortality rate. So number of children that die before the age of 1 year from their birth. Am I clear? Okay, next, neonatal mortality. So neonatal mortality means the death of children till attaining 28 days from their birth per 1000 live births. Okay, this is the meaning of neomortality rate. Next, child mortality. Child mortality means number of deaths occur up to 5 years of age from the birth of a child is called as a child mortality rate. So infant mortality rate, what is the time duration? 1 year. Neomortality rate 28 days, and child mortality 5 years. Okay, please try to note this point. So these three indicators, they are infant mortality rate, neonatal mortality, and child mortality, indicates the level of access to the health facilities and the level of poverty in any country. Okay, meaning if these three rates are very minimal in a country, we can say that that country has good health facilities and people have good nutrition. Am I clear? So if a country has more infant mortality rate and neonatal mortality rate and child mortality rate, it indicates that such country doesn't have good health facilities, as well as people are lacking in nutrition, right? So therefore these indicators are very, very important to determine whether a country is a developed country or underdeveloped country or developing country, right? Next, net attendance ratio. So we will discuss this net attendance ratio in the next video. Thank you.